I think I have told you before about the analogy of the elephant. An elephant that gets used to being tied by a chain on a tree. Sabi nila, even if you replace the chain with a string or a thread, the poor animal will still stay in its place. Liberating it from captivity involves more than just removing the chains. You have to liberate it gradually from its conditioning. Well, this is what God seems to be telling Samuel. In our first reading today, we're told that the people were asking for a king to rule over them. And Samuel, the prophet, is distressed by this. He is taking it personally because the prophet is also the judge. He is taking it personally as if he is the one being rejected by the people. In a roundabout way, God tells the prophet, no, don't take it personally. Sabi ni God, it's not you, but me, whom they are rejecting. And, I would paraphrase what the Lord is trying to say here. I set them free from slavery so that they could get used to living in freedom and governing themselves, living the covenant and following my commandments. But it looks like they have not yet outgrown their slave mentality. They would rather be ruled by a leader who will tell them what to do, one who will govern them like a tyrant, rather than decide together what is right by discerning my will with a prophet to guide them. And so God seems to be saying, okay, if that is what they want, let them have it. But when they are back again to being reduced to slavery, and then they cry out to me for help, I will say, but that is what you chose for yourselves, my children. Remember the saying, take care what you ask for. Sometimes we really just have to learn our lessons the hard way. Sa Tagalog, may kasabihan, marami pa tayong kaning kakanin. We have many more grains of rice to eat. Well, we have a similar situation in our gospel reading about the healing of the paralytic at Capernaum. Jesus somehow knew that the disease that was keeping the man in a state of paralysis was not just physical, but mental or even spiritual. I have encountered many similar situations where people cannot function well physically. Not really because they are incapacitated, but because they are bogged down by guilt or by fears, by anger, resentment, or by some unresolved issues in the past, like some traumas in the past or experiences of abuse. They are like inner voices that keep rewinding and replaying themselves over and over again, making the individual resigned to the thought that he is worthless, useless, hopeless, good for nothing, or beyond redemption. Kahit nga yung ating pambansang bayani, si Jose Rizal, he knew that it took more than an armed revolution to liberate the Filipinos from the Spanish colonial rule. He knew that we had to liberate ourselves first from our own colonial conditionings that had become so deeply rooted in our consciousness after almost, more than 3 centuries of subservience to our colonial masters. Rizal believed that it would take a lot of education and re-education to be truly liberated. That there were many things that we had yet to unlearn before we could learn to stand on our feet as a nation. It is more challenging to heal attitudes that have been atrophied or immobilized for a long time, like the attitudes of the Pharisees in the gospel. It is a lot easier to cure legs and limbs, to make people stand on their feet again, than to heal the minds and liberate people from their conditionings and restore them to their functionality. Maybe ganoon din. It goes the same way with us as we prepare for another election and as we prepare to choose a new set of leaders for our country. The greater challenge is how to liberate people from fatalism, from being resigned to a politics of patronage. How to get our people to believe that they are not powerless, that we can make things better if we want to, that we do not need to be resigned to being a paralyzed nation, that we need to set ourselves free from the tendency to belittle ourselves or to just submit to our fate. Today, maybe we should imagine Jesus addressing His words to us as a country, as a nation. Stand up, pick up your mats, and walk.